All right, all right. There we go. Hello, everybody. What's up? This week's episode is not live. We had some scheduling conflicts, so when it goes up, it'll be video and audio at the same time. So it's just me and Mike today. What's up? How's it going?
Nothing much. How you doing? I'm doing good. How about you?
Hey, it's Monday. We're getting in before Raw, so
Yep.
not too bad of a week. Kind of slow-ish. Nothing, not too much exciting going on, but I figure we can at least have some fun with it. I have my brackets ready. I'm glad we did this today because the house show results last night I was able to predict better, which is interesting because some of these I actually had already, like, my guesses were right. So I'm pretty excited. I have some interesting picks. At the end of the show, we're going to do our bracket picks, and we'll see if we guess these right. Since Raw will be tonight, we'll be able to have an immediate return. So we'll launch into that right at the end. But first, we will cover the minor shows of the week. Not really minor shows, but so Speed started a new bracket. Ivar beat Apollo Crews. Pretty interesting.
Yep. I've got Tyler Bate and Birdo coming up this Wednesday, I believe.
I am liking Ivar getting some play lately. Like NXT this past week, like good presence. It's kind of cool. Like, I don't want to see them split up or anything, but he's doing pretty well on his own as a singles competitor, I've been noticing.
Yeah, it's nice that they're using him more too cross-brand, because if you see on the roster, they have him both under NXT and Raw. So that means he'll be on main event, Speed, Raw, NXT. We'll get a lot of Ivar, I think, in this WWE calendar year.
It's interesting seeing him in, like, on NXT, we saw him in kind of civilian clothes for a little bit. So I'm curious if his singles run will be less Viking and more Ivar. So I don't know.
We even got him on commentary.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, I liked that.
This week. That was a real surprise to me.
Yeah, I did not expect that. So I'm glad Speed is continuing. Again, as we've talked about before, though, I really think there's a lot of missed opportunities here with Speed matches beyond social media. So I'm still hoping that it'll expand and that Ricochet will be able to bring his championship on TV.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to have a belt you're not bringing anywhere.
Yep.
So main event this week was also pretty good. And I had some notes before we talk about it. I know I messaged you guys this weekend and was talking about it. But so main event's an hour-long show. The first match was 10 minutes. The second match was 13 minutes. So there was like 22 minutes of matches in the 1 hour show. It was mostly just recap and filler. I know if you've ever been to an event, a lot of events have dark matches. SmackDown always has some after the show. They had Braun Strowman and Nakamura and Jay and who was it? I can't remember right now. But there were a couple of dark matches.
Gunther,
throw those on main event. Yeah, Jay and Gunther, that's what it was. And Cody came out as well. Like, throw those on main event. Like, people who watch main event, I mean, I don't know. If you have Hulu, you can already watch Raw and SmackDown. So you don't need the filler on main event. Like, I still think that should be their third brand. I don't know. That's like AEW Dark. I think it should be their dark show brand.
Yeah, and then we got 30 seconds of our truth at the end too, which I found a little bit weird.
Yeah, but the matches on main event were pretty good. I liked seeing the politically correct term, the red-headed witches, the ginger witches as they're called, having a good match. It was good seeing them win. It sucks they're on main event and not on the main show, but it was nice seeing them pick up a win. I like that team a lot. I like their gimmick.
Yeah, no, I thought it's Kate and Cara, Quintana Chance have been featured a lot on main event, and it was sort of weird last week how they had them win over Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, if I remember correctly. So I was sort of surprised to see Alba Fire and Liza Dawn win this week myself.
Yeah, that was interesting. But I mean, it's good that we're seeing more female tag teams. When I was watching that match on a main event, I kept thinking, like, I would like to see them feud with Jade and Bianca. Like, they're a great team. They were great in NXT. Like, you don't have a lot of women's tag teams, so there you go. That's exactly what I would do. That's who I would push if it was me with the pen. So, and then we had the Creed brothers defeating New Catch Republic, who they're calling they're calling Pete Dunne the big strong boy now, which I think is a very odd name, but the Creed brothers, man, they've been getting a lot of play lately on Main Event and a lot of victories. So I don't know if that's their way of tooling them and getting them ready for the main roster, but I have been loving their matches.
Yeah, no, they've been fired or featured. I'm sorry, I think 5 straight weeks now on Main Event, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, we've been talking about them a lot, and they put on some incredible matches. Like I've said, they remind me a lot of WCW 90s era Steiner Brothers.
Yeah,
like a really good team. They work really well together. And I mean, like we've talked about, if you're going to have a heel alpha academy, that's the team that you want. So if you're training them up and getting them ready for the main roster, I mean, they're nailing it. And for such a green team, like they don't miss a beat. Barely any botches. They do really well.
The only thing that I noticed this week with the matches, at one point, I believe Brutus wasn't aware that Julius was legal when he went for a pin at one point. But other than that, I think they were spot on. Other than that,
there was one part that I liked at the end of the match. Tyler Bate picked up one of the Creed brothers. I can't remember who it was for his spin move. Yeah. And you could tell that he was just chilling. Like he wasn't trying to act like he was knocked out or anything. He was just like, okay, this is what we're doing. Like, I'm here.
Yeah. I can't believe he doesn't get more dizzy and he can keep his balance after that move so well every time too. It's just, I could not do that. I'd be wobbling all around the rig.
Yeah, there's no way. I could not. Like, I don't know how they do that. I get dizzy if I try to do it like more than once. I mean, I'm too old for that mess. But yeah, not a bad main event. Level Up was also pretty good this week. I have a lot of thoughts on this. So starting with the first match, Wendy Chu going over Ren Sinclair. What are your thoughts on Wendy Chu?
Well, I think it's weird. For the first time in 11 months, we see her on Level Up with no notice whatsoever.
Yeah, no.
And then second off, I thought as soon as I saw that, I said, "Oh, they're gonna prop Ren St. Clair a little bit, and then use Wendy Chu for her debut win when she comes back on an NXT show." And that caught me off guard seeing her win. But that's a person how we talk about too with the family and Chase U. I don't know how well she'd work on the main roster personally myself with her gimmick, because it's a little bit of a weird gimmick to say the least.
I was watching it, and Wendy Chu's gimmick, I mean, she's good, but like her theme is weird, her costume's weird, and then like Ren Sinclair is just, to me, she seems like the basic, like the girl at your gym. Like, I don't know, that's one of the reasons I like watching NXT, is I like watching how they perform, but also thinking about where you would use them. And I don't know. I don't see it with either one. But I mean, some people may be fascinated with them. I don't know. Just not me.
Yeah, usually in athletics, we don't associate a pillow or sleeping with our work routine, to say the least.
Exactly. And then this next match, another one. So Josh Briggs going over Cutler James. Cutler is about as generic as it gets. Like, he's your generic WWE 2K custom wrestler. Yep. Like, his Tron is a picket fence. Like, he's talented, though. I mean, we knew Briggs was going to take it, but he's talented. Like, Cutler's talented.
Yeah, that was another one that I found weird, too. We're going to put his debut on Level Up. Like, I believe he was a college wrestler at Duke, too, I believe. But it's funny how
he was like a champion or something.
Yep. It's funny you say that about, like, the cookie cutter 2K guy when you go to create a character. He literally even has the blue shorts and everything.
I know. I'm trying to remember. I think it was Duke. They literally just revealed his name. Yeah, Division I wrestler from Duke. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting. I mean, he could have potential. Like the Creed brothers, when they came in, honestly, I was not that enamored with them. I was like, this is just going to be another generic, real wrestling team coming into professional wrestling that will probably not be that good. And I love them. They're like one of my favorite tag teams now. So this dude could do something. I mean, you never know. Generic isn't always something. But the next match, better, with Stax and Luca going over Dante Chen and Dion Lennox. I'm a family guy. Solid match. Good with the family.
Yep. And good standing with the Don.
on an unrelated note, the family and the Drew Gulak thing. I mean, how much better do you write someone off than that?
Perfect. And then they even did the at the end of NXT, which we'll get into. They want to use the catch clause for the Heritage Cup match, and he just goes and kidnaps the two of them, so they can't even use the catch clause.
I mean, my gosh, like it doesn't get any better than that. So it's very we've got so much going on. NXT, oh man, there's so much cool stuff that we have. So the minor shows were really good this week. I mean, for those who ingest WWE this much, I do them in a block. It's a great way to do it. Like Saturday, I did main event, level up, and NXT all at once because I couldn't watch NXT live. So if you do like Raw and SmackDown live, you don't have time to watch all these other minor shows, do them back to back, and it's a really good watch. I do main event and then level up, then NXT. It's a really good watch.
Mm. Yeah, I like this week too. How for Level Up, for people who are watching that you have a debut and a return too. I think that's great. They should promote that more. I think that would get more people to watch the smaller shows if they would promote that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So some good minor shows this week. The week kicked off with Raw from Hartford, King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring matches, and a random Bronson Reed match. So I guess kicking off the King of the Ring segments, we'll just cover those first. Jay went over Finn, Dragunov went over Ricochet, and Gunther went over Sheamus. Any of those surprising to you?
No, not at all. I had all three of those on my bracket, with the exception of Jey Uso, because before Drew McIntyre wasn't medically cleared, I had him winning over Finn Balor. Yeah. So that's one thing with this tournament that I don't get. How many superstars? I believe three or four we had pull out to injury. Like, we couldn't have announced this a week ago. I'm sure there wasn't 3 injuries that happened within that week time frame. It was just a change of plans.
Yeah, we had Vega pulled and
Lashley,
and Drew. Like most of the rosters on the freaking bench.
Oh, and Asuka too.
Yeah,
yeah,
they've got a lot of people on the bench right now. So Jey Uso and Finn Balor. The two matches I want to talk about are Dragunov and the Gunther match. Dragunov and Ricochet was just phenomenal. Oh man, just such a good match. If you want to introduce Dragunov to the main roster, putting him with Ricochet was a good choice because the two of them, they just put on a hell of a show.
One thing too that I didn't like with that match is we went to 2 commercial breaks, I believe, during it, and there was some good stuff that they showed on the replay that I would have liked to see live personally myself, because that was a 5-star match in my opinion.
I watched a video. I can't remember where I saw it, if it was YouTube or Twitter, but someone that was at the event put up a video of the whole match.
Yep,
it's really good.
Yeah, no, I ended up seeing it after the fact too, but it's when I'm in the moment. Once I've already watched the match once, it's great to rewatch it, but we want to see that in the moment. Like, that's what we're watching for.
Yeah, this is why I'm glad for the Netflix thing and being able to pay for not having ads. Like, it's going to be fantastic. I don't care what the cost is. I'm excited for it, and that was a tremendous match. And 2 commercial breaks is just not good. And Gunther versus Sheamus also had breaks as well. And that match, big meaty men slapping meat, was tremendous. I loved it. That could be. I'm not going to go as far as saying that's a match of the year candidate, but no, it was good for what
10,
it was.
Top 10, I'd say.
Yeah, and it was good for a Raw. We usually get 3 to 4 matches for a Raw. This Raw we got 7, which never happens. But 2 standout matches, easily Dragunov and Ricochet, Gunther and Sheamus. But Dragunov and Ricochet, I mean, will probably be one of the better matches this year.
Yep. I was surprised that they had Sheamus tap too. I like that they, as you said in the previous, that they're using submission more. And I think, and especially seeing a face tap, we've ever since Stand and Deliver, we've seen a couple since that faces tap, but before that, we never saw faces tap out.
And someone on Reddit, I wish I had the stat with me, pulled up how many times Sheamus has tapped, and it's very rare.
Yeah. I heard some people saying too that maybe it was punishment for the tweet that we talked about last week too. I'm not gonna say whether I believe it or not, but I've just heard some theories about that.
I didn't think about that. Oh, that'd be Sheamus, you shouldn't have made the Hitler tweet. So we had the women's matches. Io went over Natalia, Zoe went over Ivy Nile, and Valkyria went over Dakota Kai. Not bad. I mean, I mean, I had Ivy Nile, but the other two I had. Ivy Nile, I expected her to win, but I saw Valkyria going over and Sky going over because Natalia at this point is kind of enhancement talent. And probably same with Dakota Kai.
I personally myself had Zoe start going over and Ivy Nile, and this is the only reason why. If they had Ivy Nile on a different path, I would have picked her, but I think they want her alongside Maxine Dupree play into this possible Alpha Academy storyline with Chad Gable turning heel, because when CM Punk came out, you saw him, he's like, hey, Chad, go easy on them, because he's tearing them out backstage, still going off of the promos that we've seen cut the past 2 weeks.
I like that. Okay. Yeah. So it wasn't bad. I mean, I liked the women's matches. The Valkyria one was kind of wonky, but I mean, she's still new to the main roster. Zoe Stark and Ivy Nile, I could watch them beat the hell out of each other all day. Yep. Like, I want to see them in a no DQ or an Iron Woman match or a Hell in a Cell. Like, they're two of my favorite women on the roster with their backgrounds and their abilities. Like, I could watch them beat each other up all day. And I hope they get another match at some point in the future. I really like that. That would be really cool.
Yeah, even like an underground match. If they went back to NXT, say at Battleground, for example, that would be a great booking right there.
I have some thoughts later. Yeah, when we get to NXT, I have some stuff on that. And then the storyline with Bronson Reed and Chad Gable and Sami Zayn continues. Bronson Reed and Chad Gable had a match, but Zayn interfered, DQ, triple threat coming. Like, I mean, Chad's gonna win this at some point. Like, this has to be where this is going.
We could see. The only thing is just Sami Zayn is. We could say I'll even put him in the category of a super face like Cody Rhodes, like the mega face category. So it's just very hard in my mind to see them ending this championship run from this early. I do think Gable will eventually take it, but I think we could be maybe even looking to sometime down the road like SummerSlam or Money in the Bank, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see where that goes. I'm curious about that. Oh, a quick note. I had my notes wrong here. Going back to main event, New Catch Republic went over the Creed brothers. I had that backwards. I think it was just because I enjoyed the match more. But just to clarify, I had my notes backwards. Sometimes we make mistakes. We cover a lot of content, so I apologize. But that does happen sometimes. So the Creed brothers is still the better team. So sorry.
Yeah, without a doubt. More entertaining, too.
So that's the matches. So covering the show, we had some good segments outside of the matches. One of my favorites was Drew leaving and CM Punk pulling in. Drew leaving, Punk pulling in that Z28.
That was awesome.
Oh, man. I wonder why they didn't have Drew come back. Like, I thought that was what was going to happen.
Yeah, probably because they wanted to play off the fact to pull him out of the tournament, the injury, which I don't think it's a real injury. I think they're playing it into the storyline so they don't make him look bad. Yeah. So I don't think they wanted to have him because he's like, come attack me in the ring and all this stuff. So they didn't want to have just another segment of security holding everyone back, I think, personally, myself.
I like what Drew is doing outside of this, like his persona of Twitter bully. Did you see the Facebook reel he did and from his like backyard?
No, I didn't. I have to
watch that. Like he's living this outside of the company. Like it seems like he's really mad at CM Punk. When those two finally get to fight, it'll be a good match.
Yeah. Like, he alluded to too. Yeah, he alluded to too. He's like, I'll come get you even if I have to go across the world to Clash of the Castles. So I think that was sort of a tease that's when we'll see that match possibly is Clash of the Castle instead of Drew like winning a World Heavyweight Championship or something there. I think that could be the main event or co-main event, however they do it.
Another thing that I thought was cool was Dan Hurley showing up.
Oh, I got a note on that. That was awesome. I wanted to see him and Kling Kong in a tag match versus Awesome Truth for the tag championships. I would have loved to see that. I was hoping they were actually going to have him wrestle the way R-Truth was talking.
Oh man, that was great. And what did you think about that segment with Judgment Day with Carlito? Like, could you see Carlito in Judgment Day? Like, that'd be cool.
After because he alluded to the Bad Bunny incident last year, and
Uh-huh.
I think Judgment Day is just on the verge of breaking up. Personally, myself, I think especially with what Liv referenced today, or not today. I'm sorry, last week she referenced I have a direction now. I believe it was, and that's to take everything from Rhea that she loves. So my guess is her and Dom are going to be together, and Dom will be out of Judgment Day, and maybe Carlito's factored into that faction because seeing he's going against Ray in the LWO. That's just a guess, maybe, but I don't know.
Yeah. So going back to what you said, yeah, there was a Becky had a promo and Liv, and I don't like her on the mic. Like, I don't know. It's just like when I was in high school, I played sports. I played like golf and baseball and stuff like that.
Same here. That's funny. Those are the exact two I played too.
those are my two sports I played, and I remembered a lot of the girls running around that liked hanging out with the baseball guys were a lot like Liv Morgan. They were like the blonde preppy girls and stuff like that. And she seems like the scorned blonde ex-girlfriend, but like not good on the mic. Like her revenge tour is just, I don't feel it. Like I know they're trying something different with her, but I don't feel it. It's not there for me.
Yeah, I'd like to see her go more to the rope back when she faced Ronda Rousey I think it was after SummerSlam or at SummerSlam 2 years ago. It was like saying she can be extreme for the Extreme Rules match. I thought she did much better giving that hardcore persona than now, personally, myself.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I don't feel it. I feel like they're doing something different with her, but so back to the I know we're gonna sidetrack. We're gonna go off of wrestling real quick. Have you played any of the golf courses in Massachusetts? I've heard there's some good ones.
Oh yeah, I used to. I actually qualified for the junior state championship when I was 16. I've played a lot of them.
Nice.
Yep.
Okay. So that's going to be our retreat. We're going to have to see if Jason plays golf. If not, we're going to have to hit some. Because here in Arkansas, we don't have good courses. A lot of public courses. I was a member of a country club here just because I like their course. But like in the South, nobody plays golf. So
yeah, I've gone to Florida to play a couple courses, but other than that, I really haven't golfed in the South myself. I played Bay Hill, Arnie's place, and then Doral Trump's course down in Miami. But other than that, I haven't really golfed in the South per se. Other than that.
I played Bay Hill. I haven't played Doral, but I've heard it's nice.
Yeah, the Bermuda grass screws me up because we don't have that up here at all.
No, yeah.
When I hit or the pine straw, I hit my ball in there. I tried to hit a 3-wood out of the pine straw. The ball just dug 2 feet right into the pine straw. I didn't know you had to play it like the sand.
Yeah, it's completely different down here because most of our courses, like most of our country clubs, are all Bermuda grass. So you get used to playing on that. So you play somewhere else. Like I imagine if I went and played on the East Coast, it'd be completely different physics compared to what we're used to playing here with Bermuda, like everywhere.
Yeah, that's why the pros used to tear up TPC Boston when they had the second leg of the FedEx Cup playoffs here compared to down south. When they get in this rough compared to Bermuda, it doesn't really matter how high you grow it, unless like the country club in Brookline, they can grow a few different types of grass into the rough with the money they have, but TPC doesn't do that.
So that's going to be our next spin-off podcast to our audience.
Definitely.
I could talk golf all day.
Same here.
But I can't because it's wrestling. So we're going to talk about NXT next. So starting off the night, Wes Lee is back, defeating Josh Briggs. How was that match?
Pretty good. I think we're going to see him definitely number one contender for that North American Championship when it comes up, personally, myself. I don't know when they will. They might wait till, per se, Battleground, but we'll see.
I'm seeing a triple threat match with Wes and Josh or no, not a triple threat match, a fatal 4-way.
Yeah,
Wes,
with Ivar.
Josh, Ivar, and Obafemi.
Yep. I could definitely see that without a doubt.
But not a bad start. The match that I liked though, and we talked about this earlier, I like how some of the main roster talent is coming down to NXT. Shayna Baszler, they're not really doing anything with her on the main roster. So that Carmen Petrovic match was a good one. I don't like Carmen's gimmick because it seems like they're ripping off Kill Bill, but I think if UFC is trying to work the underground thing into NXT, I think Shayna is a great person to do it. And they have some talent there that could do it. They have some main roster talent they could bring down. So I like Shayna in NXT. I do. I don't
Yep.
think main roster is going to do anything with her, so I'm liking where she's at. I like her in NXT. I want to see more of that.
I think that was funny how they had Carmen Petrovich kick BJ Ray in the head too after that wise ass comment that he made. I thought that was awesome because I don't know much about the guy, but I've seen his social media posts, like making Liv Morgan's mugshot the background and that stuff. So I think that speaks pretty well about his character right there.
And I've seen that kick memed all week long in so many different things.
Yep.
It's like the one from AEW with the dude talking, and she's like, "Oh, this is better than that." I love this one. The one I saw that I really liked was the dude was like, "Fallout 76 sucks," and then she kicked him in the head. And I was like, even better. There's so many of them. Let's see. Oh, we'll cut to this before we go into the other thing. We kind of talked about this, but there were some promos throughout the night about the women's combine. Obviously, we have the results now. So we know who will potentially be the women's North American champion. And we've talked about this before. Jada Parker and Tatum Paxley, some of my favorite women in NXT. Those are my picks. Jason's not here, but if he was here, he would say Sol Ruka.
And Thea Hale, that was his number 2.
Yep. So off this list, where are yours at?
I had Sol Ruka personally myself, but after what I've seen recently, you got to put Fallon Henley up there with the new. She has a new towel that says Fallon comes first on, and she said, "I don't need friends anymore. I just need that North American championship." So,
and how much they've been letting her promo and her new gimmick. Yeah, I mean, I could see it.
Yeah. One thing I found very interesting about this combine, did you see Mr. Stone was great in them too? And that they're still using him now after the Von Wagner release, because they used him also when Chelsea Green was coming out too, when he gave her the head nod. I'm curious if that goes anywhere too, like maybe using him as a manager for her on NXT.
I'm curious how much of this combine was kayfabe, because like I don't see Sol Ruka outperforming Ivy Nile.
Or Lash Legend.
Or Lash Legend, yeah.
Yeah. Tatum Paxley, I don't think would be an 88 either.
No, yeah. I mean, but the list here, like, I'm really looking forward to seeing. If I had to put together a match with the women on this, like a ladder match or something, like, I could see something tremendous. It could potentially steal a pay-per-view if they do it right.
Yeah, I believe there's going to be 6 people in the match, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so, I mean, I want to see, I'd put Jada, Fallon, Ivy, Tatum, Sol Ruka, Michin.
Yep.
Like, yeah, you could have a really good match.
Yeah, and Jade Parker too. I'd like to see her in that also.
Yeah, I mean, you could have a really good, even Lash Legend. It'd be hard to pick 6 out of that I'd want to see. It'd be, and yeah, here in a second we're gonna.
We'll be talking about her. Don't worry.
Yeah, we'll get to that in just a second. Yeah. But back to the match. Tyson and Tyreek finally won a match, defeating the No Quarter Catch crew. Michin went over Ariana Grace. I have some thoughts on that too. Fallon Henley defeated Kalani Jordan, and Roxanne went over Chelsea. So that was sad. But going back to Tyson and Tyreek, the next match going over No Quarter Catch crew. What do you think about this team? Did you watch them much before, or are they?
No, I didn't really watch them much at all. I thought one thing that got me in the match though was how biased Stax was as a special guest
as the ref, right?
Yeah, I think it was almost impossible for Tyreek and Tyson to lose. But I like them as a tag team. They're definitely a very powerful tag team. I think like they could do like same sort of deal like the Good Brothers, maybe a little bit. Maybe Hank and Tank, like some sort of deal like that.
I like them a lot. Like, I could see them being a good tag team. I could see them on the main roster at some point winning the Raw or SmackDown titles. Like, I like their chemistry. I like their personas. Like, I see good things for them. It's not like when you would watch the Street Profits in NXT and said they're going to go to the moon, but like you can watch these guys and see they have potential. Like, they're going to do things.
Yeah. I think Booker T said he thinks that he can see a young Harlem Heat in that, but then Vic said he's like, if I had $1 for every time you said that.
Yeah, Harlem Heat. I mean, yeah, there's not many teams. You know, it's one thing, you know, I was a big WCW guy, and there are not a lot of tag teams like what we used to see. I mean, you're not going to see another Steiner Brothers outside of the Creed brothers, but
Mm.
you're not going to see another Harlem Heat, like tremendous tag teams. And it's one of the things I wish the main roster, and I think they're doing better about it now, is to build up that tag team division. I've always loved tag team wrestling, and going back to NWA, WCW, Crockett Promotions, like tag team wrestling was a big thing, and it's kind of fell by the wayside over the years. And I feel like we're getting to a point where it's coming back, which makes me happy.
Yep. They and especially too with them getting rid of the unified tag team champions, you'll have potential for stronger divisions on each brand.
Yeah. Yep. So there's a lot of future there that I think we're seeing. This next match, I did not see Michin going over Ariana Grace. That was interesting. I like Michin when she was in the club and stuff, but I guess they're using her in NXT now. But that was a surprising outcome to me. Didn't see that.
Yeah, I personally myself, I'm getting really sick of the Ariana Grace no violence gimmick. I like it. At first, it was a fun gimmick, but now it's getting a little too far. It's almost like Alexa Bliss. I heard she was supposed to be like a character called Southern Belle, and she would go to people like saying like Southern accents and stuff, and that never came.
Oh.
So I think that's sort of like a same like mainstream type of deal with her.
I like the Ariana Grace gimmick where I feel like what she's doing is what Charlotte Flair should have been doing as the queen. I like what she's doing with that. Her persona, I think, is really nice. I like what she puts forward as like who she is. I think that's cool.
Yep. It's ever since you guys have told me that she's Santino's daughter, I can't get that over in my head.
Isn't that surprising?
I did not know that.
For new listeners, she is Santino's daughter.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting thing. The next match, though, more exciting. Fallon Henley going over Kalani Jordan. I like Fallon Henley a lot, and I'm really excited to see what they do with her. I think they're putting a lot of work into her psyche, her backstage presence, her promos. I don't really know where you would steer that ship, but I'm liking what they're doing with her. I think there's potential with her as a performer, and as a wrestler in the ring, she's good as well. But I think her performances have been really good over the past several weeks.
Yeah, and I just think she's very talented personally myself. We saw before that she can play the face role perfectly, and it's looking like she can play the heel role even better. I like that little thing that she had with Tiffany Stratton going on before Stratton went to the main roster that they started at what's the pay-per-view? I can't think of it.
Stand and Deliver?
No. Deadline, I think
Roadblock.
it was. No, it was the one where Trick Williams won the contract.
Oh, that would be Spring Breaking. No, not Spring Breaking. He won the championship at Spring Breaking.
No, it was the Breakout, not the Breakout contract. Oh, it's the name of the match is the pay-per-view. I can't think of it though.
Sometimes we have brain farts.
I got
who did he compete against? Who was the competitor?
It was the match where they had to get all the pinfalls, and whoever had at the end of the time limit. Is it Deadline? I think.
He won the championship at Spring Breaking. When did he win? Oh, here we go. It was back in December. He won the Iron Survivor Challenge.
Iron Survivor, that's what it was.
Deadline.
Yep, Deadline. Okay, yep. Yeah. So that's when Fallon and Tiffany started their little thing there because they were both in the penalty box and they were fighting.
Okay, so sometimes it takes us a minute. Yep. So good times. So ending the night. Did you see Chelsea Green winning the championship? I did not. I was hopeful, but I didn't see it happening.
Yeah, if Roxanne didn't drop it at Spring Breaking in that triple threat match, I did not see her dropping it last Tuesday.
It wasn't going to happen. It's unfortunate. Okay, so that's all the matches. Now, on to the more exciting stuff. Let's go to the Supernova sessions with Noam Dar and the reveal of the envelope. Not what I expected.
No, not at all.
But what I thought was that's really cool because we've talked about this before is there's a lot of times someone will win a match and there will be a rope break or a shoulder up that the ref will miss. And this is them coming back to that and saying, hey, you missed something. Like, you're not the champ. So, I mean, I think the envelope thing was kind of dumb. I like that they were making fun of Maury a lot and saying he's not the father. But I feel like it's good to call back to things whenever a ref misses something. I think they should do that more often.
Yeah. I thought one thing I thought too is I love this storyline that they're going to use with Noam Dar and Trick Williams, but I love how they're using Lash Legend in this. How when Metaphor walked out of the arena, that Lash wasn't with him and they didn't talk about it. So I'm curious to see if she'll be like Trick's manager now, possibly, maybe.
Yeah, I could see it. I don't know what you do with Noam Dar though. Like I like him. I think I liked him back when he was hanging out with Alicia Fox because I always loved hearing him say Alicia Fox. Like, I like him as a person, but I don't see him as a champion. I don't know.
I think he'd almost be better as like an announcer. He is awesome on the mic, I think, personally.
Oh, he is. Dude can cut like all day long.
Yep.
Oh, another thing I had going back to the championship with Roxanne and Chelsea. They actually let the crowd say one fall. They paused.
Yep.
And the crowd got to say one fall. I hadn't seen that in forever.
Yeah, it's been a while. One thing that we didn't mention either that I would like to see is Shawn Michaels send a tweet out to Kendrick Lamar and Drake to settle it in the ring. I would love to see them do a match with the two of them.
Yeah, because we didn't cover this because it was kind of outside of WWE, but who would have thought that Sexy Red was an NXT fan?
Yeah.
Surprised me to no end. I had no idea. But NXT was awesome, and I posted about this week. Like,
yep, I saw that.
NXT has been just banging. It's been the best show each week. I mean, for the past several weeks, just getting better and better and better. And one of the reasons is because they balance good matches, but also with storytelling, in-ring segments, backstage segments, and they're doing it better than the main roster is, I think.
Yeah, they got so much going on there in a 2-hour episode. It's just awesome. It's just jam-packed. We don't miss any time for matches because they use picture-in-a-picture. When I'm taking notes for every show in the week, I am the most proactive on NXT by far because they have the most going on.
There's so much. Like with Raw and SmackDown, I can be working and watching and taking notes and stuff. But with NXT, like, you can't do anything else. You have to be in the moment because you will miss something.
Yep. And then we just got the thing that I like the most. We have the least commercials in it too. There's only like one or two commercial breaks that don't have picture-in-a-picture.
Yeah, that makes it a lot better. So for those who are listening, if you just watch Raw and SmackDown, like, you need to pick up NXT. But on that subject, going over to SmackDown, 6 matches on SmackDown. We had Queen of the Ring matches with Nia going over Naomi, Jade going over Piper, Bianca Belair going over Candice LeRae, and then we had King of the Ring matches with Carmelo going over Baron Corbin, Tama Tonga defeating the substituted Angelo Dawkins, and Randy going over AJ Styles. We'll do it backwards this time. We'll start with the women's matches. Anything surprising there for you?
No, not personally myself. I had all 3 of these, and I like this Nia Jax Jade Cargill match we got coming up. I can't wait for that this week.
I mean, I don't see, like, it would be interesting. We'll talk about this with the brackets. I have what I would want, and then what else would happen. But King of the Ring, we had Carmelo going over the I guess debuting Baron Corbin. I think this is his first main roster match. Tama Tonga over Angelo Dawkins and Orton over Styles. Orton surprised me. I thought AJ Styles was going to win that one. Tama Tonga predictable. Carmelo Hayes predictable.
Yeah, because I personally myself, I had Lashley over Tama Tonga, but once I heard the switch, I definitely picked Tama Tonga. I knew they weren't going to put Dawkins over him.
Yeah, so that was, I mean, pretty predictable there. Orton would be an interesting King of the Ring. We'll get to this when we get to the brackets, but Tama Tonga. All of these matches have been pretty short, but I mean, they're cramming so many in that they're having to spill over to house shows. So they're not really getting a lot of time to shine and show why they should be the King of the Ring or the Queen of the Ring, because they're having to cram so many into the show.
Yeah, I didn't like personally how this this bracket was set up myself. I didn't like the substitutions, and I don't like that 4 matches are on house shows. Because if you're going to do the house shows, it's okay, but put them on main event, level up, instead of a 30-second clip on Twitter just saying, "Oh, you look who won," and then you even see in the caption above it who won before you even watch the 30-second clip.
Yeah. So there's no reason to watch. Yeah. I've said forever, back in the days of the WWE Network, I felt like they should be recording house shows and live events. Well, they do record them, but I felt like that's what should be on the WWE Network. Like, that's one of the things you pay for. I would love to watch house shows and live events. I go to them every time they're here, and they're always so much more fun than main roster shows. It feels like there's a different energy there. So, I mean, I feel like that's something they should televise. But yeah, put the whole match on main event. Be like, okay, hey, this is a King of the Ring qualifier from this show we had in Georgia or Alabama. I can't remember where the show was.
They had Georgia and Tennessee this weekend.
Okay, Georgia and Tennessee, yeah. Yep. And so here's a show from Georgia. Here's a match. Great. Instead of plugging in all this filler stuff, like put some matches in there. Let's have some fun with it.
Yeah, and then too, it looks like now, which I like that they're doing it, because I've seen now Cody's the undisputed champion. I don't want to see him wrestle every week because it's not per se the working man's belt, but Cody's wrestling almost every house show right now and not on the main shows. So I can tell you would get so much viewership just from his matches alone.
Yeah. On the subject of Cody, nice segue there. So the show actually opened with Cody. And it was revealed that his challenger is Logan Paul. He will be facing Logan Paul at the King of the Ring pay-per-view. He confirmed on Twitter, it's title versus title. For those who have asked, not a unification, title versus title. I don't know. I mean, do you see this ending any other way than a disqualification? Like, do you see anyone taking a title at this?
I see Uncle Howdy coming out in the middle of the match. But I don't know, and what do they mean by that? Is the United States Championship on the line or not? Because I got confused.
Cody tweeted and said it's title versus title. If Cody wins, he takes the U.S. title and keeps his. If Paul wins, he takes the WWE title and keeps his title.
Yeah, see, I don't like that. We just last summer, we had the World Heavyweight Championship and the Universal Championship broken up. Why are we reuniting 2 championships? I think Cody would be a perfect guy for the United States Championship, as I said before, but I don't want to see one guy with 2 championships. I'm done with that.
What I think is it'll be like with Seth Rollins when he carried one of the main titles and the U.S. title at the same time without unifying them. But I don't see either one of them losing their belt. They like Logan Paul having the U.S. title. They like Cody having the WWE title. It's going to be a DQ. It's just a matter of by who.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing, too. With AJ Styles, him losing to Orton, could we see AJ Styles come in and mess up the match?
Yeah. I mean, AJ is going to want to do something, so it could. I mean, and it could set up a good 3-way at the next event. So very possible, but I don't see anyone. And yeah, that's right after this promo, or right after this in-ring segment. AJ was backstage and said he's not done with Cody. So obviously, there's more there.
Yeah, I'd be all over this match. I'd love to see Cody Rhodes versus Logan Paul, but I don't want to see either one of those guys with 2. I don't want to see anyone on the whole WWE with 2 championships. It's nothing, not singling those 2 guys out. I've seen it for the past however many years now. I don't need to see it again.
No, not at all. Another backstage segment, an interesting one, is the Solo and Paul Heyman segment.
I love you, Waz, man.
Very revealing.
Yeah.
Our championship, as it was called.
Yeah. Very interesting.
There's so many subtleties to that storyline that I look forward to paying off later.
Yeah, I think the writing's on the wall there, because he said the same thing to Jimmy right before Tama Tonga came out and attacked him that he said to Paul, and I question that Solo has talked to Roman. I don't know if I believe that. Seeing Paul said he hasn't, Solo knows he can get away with it.
Yeah, I don't see. I mean, Solo is just talking out the side of his head at this point. Like, I don't know. Paul's just kind of caught in the middle. Roman's going to come back. It's going to be like when one of the parents come home after a long day of work and the kids have set the house on fire and they run around the yard with the belt. Like Roman's about to just obliterate everyone and be like, listen, I'm going to take all y'all over my knee because you're all acting too big for your britches. And like, all y'all need to shut up.
Yeah. It would be interesting though if Solo is telling the truth, because the crowd wants him back. They think he's going to come back as a face, and then imagine if he surprised the crowd and he is behind all this. I think that would be a beautiful twist on the story, personally, myself.
The bloodline story is more interesting now than it was when Roman was a champion. Then it was just kind of boring. Now it's actually interesting. It's like watching an episode of Maury. You don't know who the father is. Like, this story could play out over. I mean, I could write this story personally over a year. Like, there's so much they could do. Matches at each pay-per-view. I mean, and that actually leads into a storyline idea that I had. So I know we'll go over to the King and Queen of the Ring match since it's kind of a plays into what we were just talking about. I'm going to read my bracket and I'll have you read yours. But so I have the Gunther going over Kofi. Now, originally I had Gunther winning this thing, but I read the other day somebody said a theory. And even though it's not a theory I want, it's a theory I could see them writing, which is unfortunate. So I see Uso going over Dragunov and then Uso going over Gunther, completing the Raw side. I don't think they're going to give us Gunther and Dragunov this early. I think they're going to make us work for it. Mm-hmm. Over on the other side, Tama Tonga going over LA Knight, Carmelo Hayes going over Orton, and the final match being, as this other guy said, Uso and Tama Tonga against each other for King of the Ring, with Uso going over. But that being done to, as we were just talking about, further the Bloodline storyline. That's not what I want to happen at all. I want to see Gunther and Carmelo Hayes, with Gunther winning the match. But I could see them using this to further the Bloodline storyline. Now, what do you have in your King of the Ring bracket?
I didn't even think about that possibility. That's crazy that you said that, and I could definitely see that happening. But for the men's, this is what I have right here. I have Gunther over Kingston myself. I got Uso over Dragunov, and then I got Gunther making it to the finale on the Raw side. On the SmackDown side, I have Randy Orton over Carmelo Hayes, and this is the tough one right here between LA Knight and Tama Tonga. I'm gonna have to go with Tama Tonga just because the Bloodline Orton feud has been going on in a while, and then I'm gonna have Orton versus Gunther in the finals, and I got Gunther winning.
God, that'd be such a great match.
Just personally, but I could easily see LA Knight going over Tama Tonga. I have gone back and forth on that result in my head. I had a different result written down here than what I just said because I've been flipping on it so many times in my head.
But I mean, looking at the other side of the bracket with where we are now, if Gunther is the final on the Raw side, there's no one other than Orton I would want to see him compete with.
Exactly, same here. I think that's the best match we can possibly have, strength and ability wise, to give us the best match possible for our entertainment. It would
be tremendous.
Because the one you said with Jey Uso and Tama Tonga, that's great from a storyline perspective, but entertainment perspective for that night alone in Saudi Arabia, I don't think it has the same potential that a Gunther and Orton match has.
And it'll be a screwy match with lots of interference, and I don't want it. I would rather see Gunther and Orton. Like, that sounds like a great match because Orton's kind of old school. Gunther is good on the mat. He's a good grappler. He's good with his strikes. Orton is very versatile. You put those two together, I mean, that could be a potential match of the year if they let them go. If they didn't rush through it and let those two go, that could be a match of the year.
One thing that I would like to see WWE do is, and I noticed that Jessica Carr was doing this in the Undisputed Championship match Backlash. I haven't seen a guy count it out in forever. Let's just get rid of the outside of the ring 10 count completely, if you ask me personally. And if we're not going to, let's start counting guys out to 10, because back when I was a kid, we'd see it all the time, but we don't really see it much now.
No, you barely see countouts anymore. Or you would see somebody roll in and then roll back out. Like, get rid of it. I mean, it's
unnecessary.
Yeah. So I like your bracket better than mine. I went with what I thought would happen just based on the storylines. I'd rather see yours though. Just if I had to
Yeah,
pick one.
I don't rule yours out a bit. I didn't even think about that possibility. And this is one of the main reasons why I picked Tama Tonga over LA Knight. Randy Orton said, "Tama Tonga, I'm not done with you," in a promo on SmackDown. So that's just normally I'd pick LA Knight every time over him. That's just the only thing in my mind that makes me think that.
So in the Queen of the Ring, I would bet yours will probably be close to mine because I know your taste. But I'll do mine. So in the quarterfinals, I have Baszler facing Valkyria with Valkyria going over, and I have Jade facing Stratton with Stratton going over, and then Valkyria versus Stratton in the end with Stratton winning.
Yeah, I've actually switched up on this a little bit. So I've got Io Sky over Baszler. I got Valkyria over Stark, and then I have Sky coming out of the Raw side. On the SmackDown side, I have Nia Jax defeating Jade Cargill. I have Bianca Belair defeating Tiffany Stratton. So it sets up a match between the two of them where maybe we could see some tension created for a storyline. Because Belair has alluded to back at like Backlash where she had some tension in the Damage Control promo that I got. Nia Jax and Bianca Belair. I'm sorry. I don't know why I got the two of them confused because I had Nia over here. And then I got Nia over Io Sky.
The main reason I had Stratton going all the way to the end is because I think a queen gimmick suits her persona very well. Yeah. Now, I would love for Jade to win over Jax and Belair to win over Stratton to have a Jade and Belair match. Yeah, that would be cool. But I don't.
Yeah, I got the two of them confused. Sorry about that.
But I don't think they'll do it because of the tag team. I don't know. I just see Stratton going all the way to the end just because I think the queen gimmick will fit her very well.
Yep.
I'm still surprised they didn't weasel Charlotte into this somehow. I really thought they were going to weasel her into a match.
I definitely have seen that happening. Just the one thing with Nia Jax, they haven't really put her over at all since she's been back. She's had a million title opportunities. She's had to go below. I think this is one thing where they can put her over, but not over too much to where she gets a belt and it's just like, oh wow, they're having her beat her just to give her the championship.
I think they're handling Nia Jax better now than they were before. Like, she seems more dominant. She seems more confident. Like, I feel like if she was ever going to win a championship, like, this is the time for it to happen. I think there's a lot more potential for her character now than there ever was before.
Yeah. I can't wait to see that match this Friday, though, with her and Jade. I think those two match up really well together.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a lot better. So we have coming up here pretty soon, King and Queen of the Ring is May 25th. And then we have Clash at the Castle June 15th. So I wanted to ask your thoughts on this. I would like to see more stakes for the King and Queen of the Ring. I would like to see a kind of like winning the Royal Rumble or Money in the Bank. Like, I'd like to see the King or Queen of the Ring win and not an open-ended thing. Like, Royal Rumble, they win, they face at Mania. Money in the Bank, they can cash in whenever. I think King or Queen of the Ring, they set up for the next pay-per-view. So King and Queen of the Ring is right before Clash at the Castle. So whoever is the king, whoever is the queen, you face the champion at Clash at the Castle. Like, I feel like they should add more stakes to it than just you get a cool crown and get to call yourself a king or a queen.
Yep. It's funny you say that because you can relate it all to like king, queen, and castle. It's all royalty. It's a royalty standpoint that would play in perfectly.
I didn't think about that.
That's cool. But I think it's just like they should do it like the NXT breakout tournament. You have a contract that you carry around that you can cash in anytime, just like that Money in the Bank, like how Obafemi and Lola Vice had this past year in NXT. I think they should do something like that. I agree with you 100%.
What are your thoughts on Lola Vice? Like, what do you think they're going to do with her? Is she a mid-card champ or a main champ?
Honestly, it's too tough for me to tell at this point. I could see her going both routes. It just all depends on how they use it, because they can prop her up to be even better than Ronda Rousey was with having that MMA background, I think.
Yeah.
And when I got those cards I showed you, I pulled her Lola Vice rookie card, and I was pumped because I'm hoping she does good, so it's worth something someday. But
Lola Vice is infinitely
I
more
don't really
interesting
know.
than Ronda Rousey was. I mean, I watched Ronda Rousey and her MMA stuff, and she's tremendous. I don't want to take anything away from her. She's annoying as hell right now. We'll talk about that.
Brutal.
Put a pin in that for a second. But Lola Vice, I mean, she's got it all right now. I mean, I think she's got the persona, the gimmick, the in-ring personality. Like, everything about her screams champion to me. Okay, now back to Ronda Rousey. What is she on?
She's on she's Tony Khan's little henchman right now, trying to tear down the big evil juggernaut, as Tony Khan said.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, because when she was in WWE, she had everything handed to her, like championships, promos, in-ring presence. Like, they gave her anything she wanted. Like, and if she was still there now renewing her contracts, they'd pay her whatever she wanted, give her any championship she wanted. Like, something backstage must have ticked her off beyond someone tugging at her sweatpants waistband. Like,
beyond Drew Gulak.
Yeah, I mean, why is she so mad?
Yeah, I don't know, because even when she suffered losses, like Liv Morgan cashed in Money in the Bank on her. The only time Liv pinned her, Liv was tapping out the same time that it was a pin. Like, they never made her look bad, from what I remember.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but like, she is so mad lately.
Yeah, the only person she really put over was Shayna. Other than that, I can't really recall anyone that she put over.
Her and Shayna together too. Like, she had a lot of potential. Her in-ring promos left a lot to be desired, but yeah, I mean, I just don't know why she's so mad.
Yeah.
So King and Queen of the Ring, we'll do a show before that, I think, because that's in 2 weeks. That's next week. Yeah. Okay. Yep. I was trying to think of where we're heading for that. So the King of the Ring final match, the Queen of the Ring final match, Becky versus Liv,
triple threat match.
Yep. And then Cody and Logan.
Yep, that's what we got so far.
Cody and Logan was so surprising. Like, I like when champions actually earn their shot. I like when there's tournaments, when they actually earn something, when they work for something. Like, and we know why Logan was picked. Obviously, the Saudis, they get to pick who they want. They got more money than Jesus. They said that's what we want. But I like when champions actually have challengers that earn their shot, or it's an open invitation, like something other than just an authority figure or a GM coming out and saying, this is who you're facing next. That's WCW era level stuff. I don't know. I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't even care about people earning it, really. I want to just see a storyline around it. Yeah. That's the main thing I care about. If this leads to a storyline, I'll be happy in the long run. Yeah. But right now, I don't see anything coming of it, really, to be quite honest with you.
And I don't see them competing after this. Like, this just seems like a one and done thing.
Yeah, because I think Logan loves being over in Saudi Arabia with all the money they got over there. He can sponsor Prime. We saw him driving on that dune buggy thing at Crown Jewel. He might not show up for every PLE, but anything in Saudi Arabia, he wants to be there and be the main event for.
Yep, if he can make money, he's going to. Like that. Yeah,
because he had the match with Roman Reigns and he won the United States Championship there.
I like him. He's good in the ring. Like, I don't want to take anything away from him because I love watching his matches. He's hella talented. Just, I don't like part-time champions. I like champions who show up on shows and defend their titles. And I think that US title would be better suited with someone else. Like, it's cool for him to show it off on his little social media videos and all that. And WWE has had a massive influx of fans lately, and we can't say whether or not it's from something else or it's from him. He could have been the reason there's been that huge influx of fans, but I would just rather see that title on someone who's going to elevate it. He's doing nothing to elevate it, I think.
Yeah, so I'm not personally myself, I'm not a fan of fighting champions for the main titles. Like the Universal Champion, that's a prestigious championship, and
Mm,
I think there's fewer matches for that is better because it gives it more of a special occasion when we see a
yeah.
match for it. But mid-card championships, like the Intercontinental Championship, the United States Championship,
Mhm.
those should be working men's belts, in my opinion. That should not be a part-time champion's belt.
Yeah, and I was iffy on Sami Zayn winning it just because I just didn't want him to have it again. I felt like someone else should have it, but it's a working championship. There's active storylines every week with that championship,
Yeah,
and that's what that's for.
yeah. And that's
And the
been
US,
the Intercontinental's been the working man's belt since even before I was born, I believe,
Mhm.
based off what
Yeah.
I've seen in the documentaries.
Yeah, I mean, going back to Pat Patterson, that was like the
Yeah.
championship that people worked for. The US championship is kind of like a TV title at this point. Like I can't remember the last time the US championship was interesting or meant something. The IC title has had some considerable storylines over the years. I mean, when the Miz had it, he elevated it to almost
Oh,
a world
yeah.
title.
Yeah.
One of my favorite IC champions, going back to again Pat Patterson, but the US title, and I've been watching wrestling since the '80s, and have been a very hardcore fan. But I cannot think of a time the US title was interesting or relevant. Like I
Yeah.
can't.
The way they tried to prop it up was 2 years ago.
John Cena was
Yeah,
the only one. Yeah.
that too, but when they had it as the main title on Raw, when they had Roman holding both of the belts, that was when they tried to prop it up, and it just didn't work at all. Like
Yeah.
the having Rollins, Lashley, when Austin Theory was holding the belt, they had some good competitors fighting for it then, but just it didn't work in my opinion. You need the World Heavyweight Championship on one brand and the WWE or Undisputed Championship, whatever you want to call it, on the other. That's what it was when I was a kid, and they've gone away from that a little.
Yeah, they have. Yep.
Little bit, and I'm glad they're back to it now. Keep it that way.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of like, in WCW back in the day when you had the TV championship that was on, it was on TV every week. There was a match every week for it. Disco Inferno had it for a long time, but like those mid card titles, they're your TV championships and are the ones that you want to fight over the most. So the US championship being on a part timer is kind of stupid.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And then this is one thing I picked up on too on SmackDown. I know technically it's true because they acknowledge certain titles, but Cody Rhodes saying he'll be a Grand Slam champion when he wins the United States Championship. In my opinion, to be a Grand Slam champion, tag team, yeah, you can hold that, but you got to have the Intercontinental, US, World Heavyweight, and Undisputed Championship. Cody Rhodes has never won the World Heavyweight Championship in WWE.
Yeah, I
know
think
of, at least.
Yeah, I think they consider it a main title, a tag title, and a mid card title.
Yeah, that's when I googled it. That's what they did. They
Yeah.
considered it both the mid card titles, a tag title, and the main championship.
So US IC tag and one main. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they did some co-branding ones too. I think New Japan counted, and there was one other one too. I forget. The one other brand also, I think they counted into that also when I googled it that I did not know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's had. Well, Cody's had a lot of titles outside because I know he had NWA.
Yeah, a ton of them. Yeah, that's the other one. That's the other brand.
I would count NWA, because that's in the granddaddy title.
yeah.
Did you see that NWA is bringing? Did you see the title that NWA is bringing back?
No, I didn't.
They're bringing back a mid card title. I can't remember what it's called. I don't know if it's a US title or something. They're bringing one back. I know we just covered WWE stuff here, but oh god, what is the one they're bringing back? Oh, the Mid American Heavyweight Champion. So NWA does not have the best looking belts, and I bring up NWA because technically a lot of what WWE does has some NWA heritage going back to Black Saturday and all that stuff. NWA is pretty a good part of WWE. So whenever we talk about WWE stuff, I think NWA is very relevant because it's a lot of what we talk about and all that stuff. I'm going to show you this title. I'm actually going to pop this in here. I know this is completely unrelated, but I was curious because I don't know anyone else who watches NWA, so I'm going to bring this in just to get your thoughts on it. So they're bringing back the Mid-American Heavyweight Champion, and NWA has been bringing back territories. But what do you think of this belt?
Whoa, are we going back to the 1960s?
Right.
Whoa. That looks like the roads that the belt that Dusty Rhodes got stripped of. The old the world championship way back then. Holy crap!
It's so generic. It is so
Wow.
generic.
That-
And it
that-
has but I like it because on there it has Kentucky, Mississippi, Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, and Arkansas. We
yeah,
are actually on this belt.
that looks like a weight belt almost, not even a championship belt. Like that's a belt that I'd actually buy and wear with some pants, not like out on an occasion.
Just wear that around the house.
Yeah.
My wife would be
Wear
like,
that
"What
with
the
some
hell is wrong
snakeskin
with you?"
boots.
But I've been excited to see NWA mainly because to get back to being WWE related, I like how AEW has a relationship with like the Indies and New Japan and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and I've liked seeing WWE with Triple H now. You know, Vince was very close minded about anyone else. But Vince now being, open-minded to like TNA, for example, Impact Wrestling, no one is really working with TNA. I think it would be really cool to see WWE establish a working relationship with TNA because they're the originator of, the territories. They were the main ones who oversee the territories before Vince broke off, left and did his own thing. I think it'd be kind of a nice throwback to see them work with TNA. And, their world champion right now is EC3. So they have some kind of a relationship with them already. But if they're going to work with TNA, why not work with NWA? Expand a little bit. Have EC3 in your Royal Rumble, have a little fun with it.
Yeah, I'd love to see have Joe Hendry write some entrance music for some certain wrestlers too. That would be awesome.
It's got to be better than what we're doing now. I could do a whole show on entrance music just because I am not pleased lately. So
yeah. See, I was a big fan of TNA when I was a kid. When Dixie Carter was there, Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff, I was like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Like when I first discovered it on Spike TV, I was like, whoa, this is amazing. Like one year at Slammiversary, I forget the name of the group, but Hulk Hogan was in it. Abyss, there was just a ton of people in it. It was just great stuff that they were writing at that time. And recently, like when I've watched TNA, it definitely has a completely different vibe to it. You wouldn't even recognize it from back then.
Was it Main Event Mafia? Was that them? I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah, it was Hulk Hogan. I don't know if Bischoff was in it. I know the Abyss was like the main guy. He had the barbed wire bat that he'd carry around with him. That I forget what he named it, Alice or something like that. Mm-hmm. It's around 2010, I think, if I remember correctly.
What I liked about that was I was a big WCW guy. So whenever WWE bought out WCW, TNA was like WCW 2.0 because everybody went there.
Yep.
And it was an interesting mix because you had the Hardys, you had Kurt Angle,
RVD. I mean,
it's everything that the Invasion storyline should have been in WWE. TNA did it better.
Yep. So that's when I liked AJ Styles too. I liked AJ Styles' character back then personally myself than I do now. I still think he's doing a great job. Don't get me wrong. I'm not bashing him, but I just liked him better in TNA back then.
It's interesting with AJ Styles what they're doing now. Like I really like his persona. I thought he was gonna, he's close to retirement, and I felt like at some point he's gonna kind of fade off, kind of like Natalia's doing, and start putting people over. But AJ seems like he's on a new rise right now. I mean, if someone's gonna take the belt off of Cody, AJ is up there with Orton for me in the list of people who could do it.
Yep, without a doubt. I'm surprised they almost didn't move him over to Raw to where he could take that title at the World Heavyweight Championship because he would be an elite top level guy on the Raw roster. Not saying that he isn't on SmackDown. He's up in those top three guys without a doubt, not including Roman, but I think he's a clear-cut World Heavyweight Champion over on Raw.
Before we wrap up, I have one more note. So Daniel Bryan Danielson, his contract is expiring in August in AEW. Some interesting discussion on the boards about it. I'm curious where you would weigh in on this. Do you think there's a chance that he comes back to WWE?
Yes. I hope he does. Let me put it that way. Ever since I don't really watch AEW that much, but since Edge has gone over there, I've been watching it a little bit recently, and I love the storyline that Daniel Bryan's or Bryan Danielson, whatever you want to call him, is a part of right now on over there with the Elite, what they got going on. Big fan of it, and I want to see the best wrestlers in WWE personally myself, because I'm not a big fan of watching AEW. I only watch it for certain wrestlers. So
That's exactly
anything to do to get Daniel Bryan back in here, do it.
That's what I've told people forever. Is one of the reasons I want MJF to sign with WWE is so I can quit watching AEW because I have too much to watch.
Yeah, I want Edge back though. He's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time.
Would it not be cool to have him come back and like smack the Judgment Day around and be like, "This is not what I planned for you guys"?
Yeah, I would be. I want him back. I don't care what he's doing. I just want him back.
So we have tonight, it's Monday night, so we got Raw here in just a little bit. NXT SmackDown this week, no pay-per-views. Next week, the regular shows, and we have King and Queen of the Ring. So Jason obviously had something he was doing tonight, and he sends his regards. He wishes he could be here. So next time, we'll be before the pay-per-view. We could probably fit some bracket predictions in. So next time, we'll have to adjust our bracket predictions and kind of see what we think is going to happen next time, I think. And again, and we'll be back to live next time. Just scheduling conflicts is why we did the pre-recorded show this week. So that's all I have. Unless you have anything else that we missed.
One thing I'd like to add in, I know it's not happening tonight because Valkyria's got the Queen of the Ring match. I think we're gonna see in the future a feud with Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria against Damage Control. I think that's in our near future.
Would love it.
Yeah, because they said they're coming. They said they're coming for Becky Lynch last Monday, so I think we're going to see that upcoming soon. As I said, not this week, but we might see something that leads into it.
And Lyra is Irish. I mean, yeah, I could see the Irish last kicker with the Irish whatever she has going on. I think they called her like the pagan something. There was something they called her on TV the other night, and I was trying to remember what it was.
Oh, the Bird Lady?
The Bird Lady, or
that was what Damage Control called her.
Yeah, so yeah, I like it. Okay, I'm here for it.
One thing I didn't know if you noticed either, on Dakota Kai's wrestling outfit, she has Abyss's logo on the back.
Really?
Yeah, I noticed it's on the back of the sports bra on like a right side. I was curious why that was on there. I know he's working with WWE now, I think, but I just was curious. I didn't know why that was on there.
Yes, he is a WWE producer now.
Yeah,
that's his Twitter. Yeah. Okay.
I was just really curious about that. I'm like, why does she have his logo on the back of her wrestling gear? And it's like the the DK one that she's been wearing.
I'm gonna have to watch for that. Yeah, it's good seeing her on TV though. It's good that they're doing more with her and letting her talk again. So I like that.
Yep, the mouthpiece for Damage Control.
So it's going to be an interesting week, guys. We're very excited about what's to come here. Thanks for joining us today. It was nice we were able to sit down and do this. Jason sends his regards. Of course, guys, as always, to get the housekeeping out of the way, join us on Reddit, hit up our WWE, and thanks to our friends at Ascendant for submitting the Doomsday Machine soundtrack. Every time we start this show, I love it. I'm sitting there just, I love the soundtrack. So thanks to that band who gave us this soundtrack to use. And that's going to be all that I have as we wrap up this week, the weekly recap. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for being here. And we will see you on the next episode of WWE Mat Chat. Thanks for joining us. See you guys later.